1. If the benefit payment qualifies, the payment of an accelerated death benefit under a life insurance policy to the recipient is generally D. Tax-free. 2. Life and health insurance forms used in Washington must be submitted for the Commissioner's approval. D. At least 30 days before the desired date of use. 3. All of the following are factors for a producer to consider when determining annuity suitability for a client, except C. Commission. 4. J owns a policy that pays a death benefit only if J dies within the 20-year policy period. If J dies any time the policy is in force, J's beneficiary will receive $100,000. J's premium for this policy will be the same throughout the 20-year policy period. J owns C. A level term policy. 5. What rider pays out a benefit if the insured loses a limb, eyesight, or hearing as a result of an accident? A accidental death and dismemberment rider. 6. Selecting acceptable risks is the primary responsibility of the underwriter. 7. Statements made by the applicant on a life insurance application are considered to be representations. 8. To convert a term policy to a permanent policy at the original age the term policy was issued, all of the following conditions must be met, except B. Cash values have to be paid out before conversion can occur. 9. Which of the following activities could be considered stranger/investor-originated life insurance? B. Filling out the application for life insurance on behalf of the insured. 10. All of the following can cause a cost increase for a new policy issued through a term life policy conversion, except B. The insured's health has changed for the worse. 11. The Social Security system is funded through A. Federal Insurance Contribution Act, FICA, taxes. 12. K owns a variable annuity with an assumed interest rate of 4%. If the actual performance of the separate accounts is 5%, the effect on this month's income benefit check will be such that it D becomes higher. 13. In group life policies issued in Washington, statements made by the policyholder or insured individuals are considered B. Representations. 14. If a father were to add a child rider to a life insurance policy to cover his children, when would coverage become effective for a newborn? B. At 14 days after birth. 15. Under the law of agency, apparent authority is B. The general appearance that authority exists. 16. If a life insurance policy owner specifies the time over which all death benefit settlement installments are to be paid, they have chosen which settlement option? C. Fixed period. 17. T is the insured and policy owner of a $500,000 life insurance policy and dies, leaving 4 surviving children. Each child receives $125,000 upon T's death. This is an example of what type of distribution? A per capita. Teen. A feature of a variable life policy includes B. A death benefit that never falls below a guaranteed minimum. 19. When a producer or insurer in Washington misquotes or misstates any policy terms, benefits, or dividends, it is an example of which unfair trade practice? A misrepresentation. 20. According to Washington regulations for insurance policies providing drug coverage, insurers may not deny coverage for what kind of use of a drug? A off-label use. 21. E purchased life insurance policies on behalf of E's grandchildren. E wanted to be certain they could purchase additional policies at specified ages. E was able to do this by adding which rider? C. Guaranteed insurability rider. 22. The insuring clause of a life insurance policy is found D. On the first page of the policy. 23. Which of the following types of term life insurance can be written as a rider to provide cost of living or return of premium benefits? B. Increasing term. 24. With a contributory group life plan, what percentage of the employees must participate? D. At least 75%. 25. A life insurance policy owner receives an annual dividend. The owner chooses to use dividends to offset the annual obligation to the insurer. The policy owner selected which dividend option? D. Premium reduction. 26. Upon receipt of all of the necessary information, the Home Office underwriters can issue the coverage applied for in all of the following ways, except D. Declined. 27. N has a $10,000 traditional whole life policy with a loan outstanding of $1,000 and a 5% interest charge. At the end of the first year of the loan, N did not pay the loan interest. What is the result of N's inaction? A. N's new loan balance is $1,050. 28. Which individual life insurance standard provision specifies the conditions under which the insurer will not pay a claim while the policy was in force at the time of the insured's death? C. Exclusions. 29. The time limit to bring legal action against an insurer cannot be less than ____ after the act occurs. 12 months. 30. C wants a life insurance settlement option for their beneficiary that will guarantee the beneficiary an income as long as the beneficiary lives. C should choose B. Life income only. 31. Which person or entity issues a certificate of authority enabling an insurer to conduct insurance business within a particular state? B. State Insurance Commissioner or Director. 32. Which of the following is correct about a reciprocal insurance company? A. Each subscriber assumes a share of the risk of all other subscribers. 33. Unless the policy was issued as part of a replacement sale, a policy owner in Washington may return the life policy if unsatisfied for any reason within how many days after receiving the policy? B. 10 days. 34. If money is paid to change the ownership on a policy covering an insured who is not terminally ill, this is referred to as B. Life settlement. 35. A systematic distribution of accumulated funds, either over one's life or a specified period, is the definition of B. Annuitization option. 36. All of the following are acceptable methods of policy delivery, except B. Delivery to a neighbor with a signed receipt of delivery. 37. The standard mode of premium provision included in a life insurance policy describes D. The frequency of premium payment. 38. The amount payable to the beneficiary upon the death of the insured named in a life insurance policy is the C. Face amount. 39. What is the only way an annuity can pay out income tax-free benefit payments? B. Fund a Roth IRA and make a qualified distribution. 40. Which of the following term life insurance policies would have the lowest annual premium, all other factors being equal? B. 1-year term. 41. Which of the following statements about Section 1035 transactions is correct? B. A new application is required when moving into a new life insurance policy. 42. A life insurance applicant's answers on the application indicate that they are in good health. In fact, the applicant has a disease that they are not aware of. The statement on the application is considered B. A representation. 43. During the application process, the applicant made a mistake in answering one of the health questions, which needs to be corrected. What is the best way to go about this? C. The applicant should initial the change or start over with a completely new application. 44. Which of the following policy types is written on the life of a minor? B. Juvenile life. 45. Susan, age 65, inherits a substantial sum of money and wants to have the money distributed to her over the rest of her life starting next month. Which product will allow her to accomplish her objective? C. Single premium immediate annuity. 46. Annuities are classified in all of the following ways except C. Issuer of the annuity. 47. Producers have a duty to only recommend coverage based on what is suitable. B. To the consumer. 48. What is the difference between the cash value and the cash surrender value of an annuity? The surrender charge. 49. If a consumer would like to make sure that survivors are left with a paid-off car, boat, and home at an affordable price, what type of policy should they consider acquiring at the time each one of those items were purchased? B. Credit life insurance. 50. Which of the following forms of insurance is generally only an option for large corporations who may want to limit their risk up to a certain dollar amount and then buy insurance above and beyond that amount? D. Self-insurance. 51. A key person is typically all of the following except C. A not directly involved in sales, production, or service. 52. All of the following statements are true of a juvenile policy except C. The insured is the premium payer. 53. How can an annuity pay out an income benefit income tax-free? A. Purchase the annuity within a Roth IRA account. 54. Which of the following is an accurate definition of pure risk? D. A chance of loss or no loss but no chance of gain. 55. A company owned by stockholders that does not pay dividends to policyholders is considered a non-participating. 56. To qualify for a waiver of premium, most insurance companies require the individual's disability to meet specific criteria, which include C. A total disability lasting longer than the waiting period. 57. Policy loans are available from the general or separate accounts for variable policies. What percentage of the cash value can typically be borrowed against a variable policy? D. 75 to 90%. 58. Electing A option for an annuity means that the annuitant will receive an income for life or for a temporary period of time. C. Settlement. 59. Which of the following annuities can be said to have upside potential, but no downside risk relative to the stock market overall? A. Indexed annuity. 60. Which of the following is not an acceptable type of group life insurance plan in Washington? C. A group formed solely to purchase life insurance. 61. The 31 days in which the employee may change their group policy to an individual policy upon termination and without evidence of insurability is known as C. The conversion period. 62. When a producer personally delivers a life insurance policy, they are responsible for doing which of the following? D. Explain the policy benefits. 63. K needs funds but also needs to maintain their life insurance policy. Which of the following should K do with their traditional whole life policy? C. Take out a policy loan. 64. In order to obtain a non-resident producer license in Washington, non-residents must hold a resident license in their home state, and their state must offer non-resident licenses to Washington producers. This is known as D. Reciprocity. 65. Which standard life insurance policy provision requires the application, the contract itself, and any riders to be attached to establish a complete contract? C. The entire contract provision. 66. The _____ has the right to change the premium mode. A policy owner. 67. If the insured dies while the ____ period is in effect, the death benefit paid is the face amount minus the premiums due. A grace period. 68. If a life insurance beneficiary has the choice and is interested in capital conservation, which of the following settlement options best meets the beneficiary's needs? C. Interest only. 69. When planning for the income of a surviving spouse, capital liquidation is used to meet the survivor's income objectives by A. Paying out all policy proceeds and interest earned. 70. P is the insured and policy owner of a $100,000 life insurance policy. P named D and K as co-primary beneficiaries. What is the payout if P dies? $50,000 to D and $50,000 to K. 71. Life insurance policy illustration rules apply to which of the following policies issued in Washington? A traditional whole life. 72. When there is enough cash value within a life policy to pay the premium, the automatic premium loan provision prevents the policy from B. Lapsing. 73. For life insurance, all of the following are true regarding an attending physician's statement, APS, except C. An MIB report can be used in place of an APS. 74. When an applicant does not smoke, exercises regularly, seldom drinks, eats moderately, and is considered to be a better-than-average risk, they would likely qualify for D. Preferred status and pay a lower premium. 75. Under an employee group life insurance plan in Washington, how many employees must be covered at the date of issue in order to be valid? 10 employees. 76. When gathering information about an applicant from a third party, an insurance company must meet the requirements under D. Fair Credit Reporting Act FCRA. 77. The only document that could be copied and made part of the policy is the D. Medical examination. 78. D. An unlicensed individual in the state of Washington is conducting insurance business. Because they are conducting insurance business without the proper license, they are guilty of which penalty? C. Misdemeanor. 79. The bank may require its borrowers to have a life insurance policy to secure a loan in the event of the borrower's death, which provision gives the bank proportional protection but not control of the policy? D. Collateral assignment. 80. M. A life insurance policyholder in Washington accidentally gave an incorrect age when speaking to their producer. Under the misstatement of age provision, What will happen to M's policy after this is discovered? B. The benefit will be adjusted to what the premium would have purchased at the correct age. 81. A policy summary is a written description of the policy's elements, and it must include all of the following, except B. Comparison of 3 competing insurers' premium rates. 82. The Commissioner of Insurance has determined it is necessary to examine the records of Company ABC, an insurer authorized to do business in Washington. After completing the examination, the Commissioner must file the report within how many days? C. 60 days. 83. All insurers must hold a certificate of authority in Washington, and those certificates must state all of the following, except A. The location of the insurer's home. 84. The life insurance non-forfeiture option that provides coverage for the shortest duration is extended term. 85. K. A producer in Washington has distributed information to their clients that is false and designed to injure another insurer. K is guilty of which unfair trade practice? A. Defamation of insurer. 86. An insurance producer must report any criminal prosecution of themselves to the Commissioner within how much time after the initial pretrial date? B. 30 days. 87. In regard to policy delivery, it is an unfair trade practice in the state of Washington to do which of the following? B. Withhold the delivery of a policy. 88. All of the following are unfair trade practices in the insurance business in Washington, except a fair discrimination on the basis of sex, marital status, or the presence of any sensory, mental, or physical handicap if substantiated by actuarial experience. 89. Which of the following statements about domestic mutual insurers in Washington is correct? A. Members of domestic mutual insurers may be paid dividends as a return of surplus. 90. In Washington, which of the following acts is not considered a prohibited rebate or inducement in the business of insurance? A. Enacting a promotional program offering $50 prizes per consumer when the prize is not written into the contract. 91. S is a licensee in the state of Washington. All of the following acts would be a reason for S to lose their license, except A. Accounting for and appropriately handling monies required to be held in a fiduciary capacity. 92. A resident insurance producer licensed in Washington places insurance with insurer XYZ, even though the producer is not appointed by the insurer. Under the Washington Insurance Code, the producer D. must maintain a bond to the benefit of the people of Washington. 93. In Washington, life insurance policies may be issued to associations following all of the following rules, except it has at least 25 members. 94. In Washington, disclosure rules are there to help a buyer's ability to D. select the most appropriate life insurance for their needs. 95. All life policies in the state of Washington must have an incontestability clause, which makes the policy incontestable after being in effect for how long? C. 2 years. 96. P. An insurance producer licensed in Washington receives premium monies in a fiduciary capacity. When P fails to separate premium monies from personal funds, this is known as D. Commingling. 97. How many hours of approved continuing education must resident producers complete per renewal period? 24 hours, including 3 hours of ethics. 98. After receiving the required proof of loss related to a claim under an insurance policy issued in Washington, the insurer must accept or deny the claim within c. 15 working days. 99. Under group life policies issued in Washington, producers must provide certificates to each individual insured stating all of the following, except d. the beneficiaries and their relationship to the insured. 100. All of the following are exempt from taking the insurance producer license exam in Washington, except c. applicants for a resident license to sell life insurance and annuities.